So last week I uploaded a video detailing a brand new gaming computer for only $300, and although it played today's games, it had a lot left to be desired. It could have had a stronger video card, and there was only 4 gigs of RAM, which was a huge handicap. Now, the gaming computer for only $300 right here fixes all of those issues. It sports an i5-3550, the same one I showcased about 2 videos ago, an H61 micro ATX motherboard, 8 gigs of DDR4 memory, a 500 watt power supply, a GTX 760, and a 1 terabyte hard drive. Everything is housed inside the Roswell Nautilus, a case I picked up for about $25 almost 2 months ago. Most of the components that I picked up here are used, and that's honestly the key if you're building a gaming computer for $400 or less. And not everything needs to be from the used market, but even if just your CPU, your motherboard, and your memory are from the used market, then you could save potentially up to like $100. For instance, my CPU is the i5-3550. It's only about 10 to 15% slower than the Ryzen 3, and with any video card slower than a GTX 1070 and at 1080p or higher, you won't notice a difference. I bought it for about $45 a year ago, but it's frequently found for $60 or less. The Pentium G4600 I used in my new gaming PC goes for around $80. It's a solid CPU, solid upgrade path, and slightly slower than a Ryzen 3 chip. I bought both motherboards for around $40. No overclocking capability on either, though the Pentium's motherboard supports more features such as M.2 SSDs and USB 3.1. The i5 machine houses a $70 GTX 760 2GB. Not the best price for a 760, but arguably better, depending on how important efficiency means to you, than the $70 GT 1030 in the brand new PC. The 760 gives up to double the performance, depending on the game. The biggest difference comes in the RAM department. I only spent $40 on the 8GB kit of DDR4 memory for the used gaming PC, while I spent a few bucks more on a 4GB kit of DDR4 memory for the brand new gaming PC. And while the memory speed differences between DDR3 and DDR4 memory may seem vast, it won't make a substantial difference at this price point with these budget processors on these budget motherboards. And we were really pulling teeth with only 4 gigs of RAM on the new PC. By going used, I was able to get a better case and a better power supply, albeit I did actually overpay for that one, without going over our $300 threshold. I was basically able to maintain CPU performance, get more memory, get more hard drive space, and a much faster video card. I think that's a win. But for the moment that I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting for, and the point of this video in a sense, how does it compare to the brand new gaming computer that I built just about a week and a half ago? Well, let's find out. There is still some stuttering in Battlefield 1 because of the quad-core CPU, but at least it's playable now. I used a mixture of low and medium settings, and it hovered around 30 to 45 FPS with some dips under 30. Not the most pleasant experience, but again, at least it's playable. I used the same settings on Fortnite, medium on the used computer, and it hovered in the 70s. It was much smoother, and I experienced less jitters on the used computer than on the new gaming computer, but otherwise both of them were completely playable. There wasn't a huge jump in FPS in The Witcher 3, but it was definitely more consistent. At a higher graphical fidelity of medium settings without any hairworks, the computer stayed in the lower 40s the entire time. And again, this was with a slightly better graphical fidelity, so if I turned it down to low, then I would probably be in the upper 40s, lower 50s. Even in combat scenes, everything worked great. PUBG had one of the biggest differences, and similar to Witcher 3, I was able to up the graphical fidelity from low to medium. So at medium settings, using low shadows and an ultra view distance, I was in the mid to high 40s most of the time, and I don't even think I touched the 30s at all. Using the same medium preset in Rainbow Six Siege, I averaged about 80-ish FPS during the same tutorial run. It's about 30 to 40 FPS more than the new gaming computer. Considering it's an esports title, this isn't much of a surprise. So there you have it. It gives you better performance for the same price, and you still have that awesome upgrade path to an i7 or a Xeon if you so happen to do so. And that will give you better performance in games such as Battlefield 1, which was still struggling on the i5, I won't deny that. Nonetheless, I'm sure that a lot of you probably already predicted that a new gaming computer would beat out a used gaming computer. The performance doubled in some instances, and in others, specifically Battlefield 1, it went from being unplayable to having some sort of playability. That's a big difference. I suppose the moral of the story here is that if you are spending $350 or less, or even up to $400, then I recommend going with the used market. And if you want to avoid high DDR4 memory prices, then the solution is pretty obvious. Just don't go towards high DDR4 memory prices and pick up platforms that use DDR3 instead. And although DDR3 is still a little bit more expensive than it used to be, it's definitely cheaper than DDR4. But that's it for this video, guys. Huge shout out to Gaming XP for actually giving me the idea for this video. It was really fun comparing a new computer to a used computer for the same price. And it goes to show how much more performance you can get just by going with the used market. It's pretty simple, at least in the USA anyway. If you guys like this video, then leave a like. If you loved it, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.